Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my literary club. Today I'm going to explain Dejection, an Ode by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So let's start with our poet's introduction. S.T. Coleridge, from 1772 to 1834, was an influential English poet, literary critic, philosopher, and theologian. He is best known for his seminal works such as The Rime of Ancient Mariner and The Kubla Khan, which explores the theme of nature, imagination, and the supernaturals. Coleridge's ideas on the creative progress and the interplay between imagination and reality have left a lasting impact on literature and criticism. His collaboration with the fellow Romantic poets, particularly with William Wordsworth, further shaped the trajectory of English poetry. This poem is very deeply introspective poem because this poem explores the poet's sense of emotional despair because of creative stagnation and his disconnection from the nature. This poem was written in 1802, and at that time Coleridge was struggling with depression due to his unrequited love because he loved a girl who didn't love him back, and his yearning for the inner peace. He was passing through a very hard time of life because he had the his writing block, which we call writing block today. That is the worst thing for a poet, because a poet could not write something. That's the worst phase of the poet, and S.T. Coleridge was passing through that time when he wrote this poem. So this stanza is not part of this poem, Dejection. Coleridge borrowed this stanza from another poem, another ballad of Sir Patrick Spence, and he wrote it in the start of this poem. So let's read it. Late, late, yestreen. Yestreen is an ancient word for yesterday night and yesterday evening. Yestreen, I saw the new moon with the old moon in her arms. Now he's giving us a very strange phenomena, and an occasion, an event which very rarely happens, and this event is called earth shine, when old moon and the new moon comes together. Okay, and I fear my master dear, we shall have a deadly storm. Now at that time, and those days when this ballad was written, and also the days of Coleridge, it was believed that if this occasion happens when new moon and old moon, as the picture you can see in the in title, if this kind of earth shine happens, that means that a storm is about to come, a deadly storm is about to come. So the Sir Patrick Spence is saying that I fear my master dear, we shall have a deadly storm. So let's start our poem. Well, if the bard was weather-wise, who made the grand old ballad of Sir Patrick Spens. Now, on the very first two lines of the poem, Coleridge used a literary device of allusion. Allusion is a noun that refers to an indirect or passing reference to a person, place, event, or literary work which is commonly understood or noun. So, Coleridge used this allusion and also described that stanza in order to give us a deeper understanding of the earth shine, of the phenomena he discussed. Okay, he's going to discuss. So, he's saying that if that bard, who said that, who prophesied that if there are two moons, then there will be a storm. So, if that was wise, so this night, today night, so tranquil now, which is right now very peaceful, will not go unroused by the winds. Okay, so he's prophesizing that if that is true, that prophecy is true, then tonight will also be a storm. Okay, tonight would also be terrible winds that play a busier trade than those which mold yawn clouds in lazy flakes. Now he's saying that the right now clouds in a very lazy, moving in a very lazy flakes. Okay, but the winds will play a very busier trade, very terrible storm after some time. Okay, or the dull sobbing draft. Right now they are very, winds are very dull and soft, gently moving. Okay, that moans and rakes upon the strings of the Aeolian lute. Aeolian lute, people used to hung the lute. Lute is a musical instrument, and people used to hung this musical instrument upon their roofs at that time. So when the wind blows, its strings move, and it makes a very beautiful sound, mesmerizing sound, just like today we used to hung the wind chimes. So it, when the wind moves, it plays the music. So at that time people used to hung the Aeolian lutes. So he's saying that which far better were mute. He's getting irritated by the sound of Aeolian lute. He's saying that it's good if it stays mute, but after some time, wind will go far more terrible. Okay, for lo, the new moon, winter bright. Now he's describing the beauty of the winter night, the new moon of the winter night. So in these lines, Wordsworth uses the literary device of personification. Personification is a literary device in which non-human characteristics or traits or emotions are attributed to non-human entities. So when Coleridge says that this night so tranquil now it not go hence, when he says that night will not move forward without moving moved by the wind, so night wouldn't go hence. That's the attribution of the humans. That's an example of personification. And these whole lines, the wind is moving slowly, and then winds will play a busier trade and aeolian. This is all an example of imagery. Imagery is a literary device that involves the use of descriptive language to create vivid and sensory rich representations of objects in front of us readers. And overspread with phantom light. Now he's telling us the eerie, the ghostly beauty of the night, the phantom beauty of the night and of the light of moon, with swimming phantom light overspread, but rimmed and circled by a silver thread. Now he's saying that the moon is appeared at the surrounded by some halo of light, which enhance its ghostly appearance. Okay, this silver thread, this halo of life in light enhance its ghostly appearance. I see this the old moon in her lap foretelling the coming on of rain and squally blast. Now this is why he was prophesying that there will be a busier trade, because he see old moon in the lap of new moon, which foretells that there will be rain and there will be lightning and thunderstorm and terrible winds. Okay, and oh, that even now the gust was swelling. Even now, when I'm talking, the gust started to rise more terribly than before, and the slant night shower driving loud and fast, and the rain is started loud and fast. These sounds which often have raised me, while they aved and sent my soul abroad. Now he's saying that he's coming to the point that all this scenario, all this nature once raised my soul. They all once focused me to write a poem or write something, and they give me imagination, lots of imagination, and they sent my soul to curiosity. Okay, these all scenarios once inspired me a lot. Might now, perhaps now, it's giving us a bit of hope that perhaps now they give their wanted impulse give might startle this dolphin. They might give mm, give little bit, move my pain and make it move and live, maybe move my thinking, thoughts and imagination a bit. He's giving us a bit of hope that might my dulled imagination revive and renew and awakens. Okay, now he's going to describe his dull pain. He's saying that his pain is dull because if pain is sharp, then it will burst out through tears, through yelling. But his pain is dull, so he's going to describe his pain that a grief without a pang. Okay, a void, dark and drear, stifled, drowsy, unimpassioned grief. Now he's saying that there is no particular impact of the grief on me. He's describing that his grief is very dull, it's lifeless, it lacks the sharpness, emotional intensity of nature's sorrow. So a stifled, okay, it's suffocating. This grief is suffocating, it's drowsy. Why it's drowsy? Because it's leave him numb. He couldn't feel anything. An unimpassioned grief because he don't want to vent his grief, which finds no natural outlet. He couldn't let his grief go. He couldn't be able to, because there is no relief in word, because he couldn't write or sigh or tear, because his pain is not sharp, so he could cry. His pain is very dull, so he couldn't be able to cry. Oh lady, now this lady could be the beloved of Esther Coleridge, which is, we can assume that this is Sarah Hutchinson, which was the sister-in-law of William Wordsworth, and this is an example of apostrophe. Apostrophe is a literary device in which a speaker addresses an absent person, non-human entity, animal, or inanimate objects. So he addresses to old lady. That's an example of apostrophe. In this vain and heartless, move to other thoughts by yonder thostal wood. So he's going to explain that this mood is this heartless, this lifeless state, and then he hears some bird song, some throstal wood, some bird song, and then momentarily he draws to the other thoughts. Okay, now he moves to other thoughts. all this long evening so balmy and serene. Now he's going to describe the calm and pleasant evening, okay, contrast with his inner self. Have I been gazing upon the western sky and its peculiar tint of yellow green. Now that's also an example of imagery, that is giving us the imagery even of the color of the sky, that it's yellow green, it's sunset of the sky, of the western sky, and then he's staring at that sky, which symbolizes this, it's strangeness, because he's just staring at the sky and doing nothing, happening nothing, feels nothing. And still I gaze, and with how blank an eye. Now he says that I don't feel anything. I'm looking at the sky till in the evening, but I don't feel anything. And those thin clouds above in flakes and bars. Now these are the shapes of the different shapes of the clouds, the flakes and bars. So he's saying that the clouds above in flakes and bars that give away their motion to the stars. Now stars, they don't give their motions to the stars. That's also an example of personification. But we all know that when clouds move, it feels that the stars are moving. So that's why he's saying that the clouds are giving its motion to the stars. So clouds of different shapes are moving. Those stars that climb behind them or between the clouds. Now it's describing the state of the stars. Now sparkling, now bedimmed. Sometimes they sparkle, sometimes they bedim because the clouds cover them. So, but always seen. Even though they are behind the clouds, but their light is always seen. They do not went dark. They are only bedim. Yon crescent moon as fixed as if it grew. Now that's an example of simile. Simile is a literary device that draws a direct comparison between two different things using the words like or as. Now he's comparing moon crescent with something very isolated and stationary, because it has. He's saying that as fixed as if it grew in its own cloudless, starless lake of blue. So he's saying that crescent moon is isolated, no clouds, no stars, no light, still moon. Okay, I see them all so excellently fair. So he's praising all this scenario. I see, not feel how beautiful they are. Okay, now he's saying that I could see, I know they are beautiful, but I couldn't be able to uh, appreciate them. Now that's an example of irony. Irony is a literary device and that involves a contrast and incongruity between expectations and reality. Stanza number three. My genial spirits fail, and what can these avail to lift the smoothing weight from off my breast? Now he's saying that my happy. Now we can say the inability, his inability to connect with its nature. That he's saying that my happy spirits are fail. Even this is so beautiful scenario: the sunset, the clouds, the moon, the stars, the rain. Everything is so beautiful, but my happy spirits are fail. I could not feel them, I could not cherish them, and I could not imagine these things. I could not write from these things. Everything failed. And what then? What's the purpose of all this? What can these avail? What's the purpose of all of this if they cannot lift the weight from my breast? If they cannot, if they cannot impress me, then what is the purpose of all of this? Now, this is an example of rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a question that is asked not to elicit an answer, but rather to move a point or provoke a thought. It were a vain endeavor. Now he's saying that this all is a waste effort. My attempts to find peace or relief is all waste. It's all vain. Now he's giving us a imagery of despair. He's becoming hopeless. He's saying that though I should gaze forever on that green light that lingers in the west, I will gaze forever at this sunset, at this cloud and sky and stars. I may not hope for the outward form to win. I don't hope that I will feel this beauty and I will be emotionally stable as I was. The passion and the life whose fountains are within. Now he's saying that he's realizing that happiness is not outside, happiness is within. And my within happiness is not awakening. My internal source are currently lacking. Okay, so I'm not hoping that they will ever be awake. Stanza number four now is going to explain what comes from within us, what happiness, passion comes from within us. Oh lady, now is again using the literary device of apostrophe. We receive, but what we give. Now he's saying that what we give to nature, it's that nature returns. And in our life alone, does nature live? Ours is her wedding garment, ours is her shroud. Now he's saying that nature only reflects what we have. Okay, if we are happy, then nature reflects the happiness. If we are if we have some sad or hopeless emotions, that nature will project the same. Okay, so he's saying that ours is a wedding garment. If we are happy, then the nature will reflect the beauty, wedding, we can say celebrations. Okay, and if we are sad, we are hopeless, then nature will depict the mourning or death type scenarios. Okay, that's the meaning of these lines. And would we ought behold of higher worth than that inanimate cold word allowed to the poor loveless ever anxious crowd. So in this line, R is her wedding garment, R is a shroud, is an example of literary device. Metaphor. Metaphor is a literary device in which a writer compares between two unrelated things, stating that one is another without using like and as. Here, Coleridge is comparing happiness and celebration with wedding garments and mourning or hopelessness with shrouds. So that's an example of metaphor. In the next lines, he's saying that we should behold nature of higher worth more deeply. Okay, we should behold, we should view nature more deeply, that and then that the inanimate cold world allowed to the poor loveless ever anxious crowd. He's saying that to see beyond this lifeless, cold exterior of the materialistic world that anxious and unfeeling, massive perceives, we must engage with the nature on deeper level. So he's criticizing the society, materialistic society, the society in which everything is at the surface level. And he's saying that we should deepen ourselves with the nature so that we could get the happiness from the nature. If we give to nature, then we'll get the happiness. Okay. Okay. Ah, from the soul itself must issue forth a light, a glory, a fair luminous cloud enveloping the earth. Now he's giving us the imagery. Okay, he's giving us the imagery of happy, of light nature. Okay, and he's saying that the beauty and the meaning arise from within human soul. Okay, the light and glory from within human soul, creating the radiance, okay, that transform the earth, that envelop the earth, that transform the earth into something very beautiful. So that's the point when you will get the happiness from the nature. And from the soul itself must there be sent a sweet and potent voice of its own birth, of all sweet sounds and the life and element. Now it's giving us the unity between the nature and the soul. If we give the nature the beauty of soul, then the nature will return the beauty to the soul. Soul generate, if we soul that generate the harmonious and powerful voice, and that which symbolize the creative essence of the inside voice, the artistic emotions of inside, that the in the last line of all sweet sounds of life and element, he's saying that that soul expressions is the essence and life force between every beauty. Okay, it's the soul that is the actual beauty, that gives the actual beauty, not the outside world. Oh, pure of heart. Now, again, another example of apostrophe. Instead of "oh lady," he says, "oh, pure of heart. Though needs not ask of me what this strong music in the soul may be." Okay, he's talking to the lady and he's saying that already possess an innate understanding of the profound music with the soul. Okay, which is the spiritual beauty and joy and harmony. So you don't need to ask, because she is very, she is deeply interacted with the nature, so she knows this unintentionally. What and where in it doth exist, you know this, that where it exists, this light and glory and this fair luminous mist, this beautiful and beauty maker power, making power. Now why he's calling soul a beauty making power? Because he explained it earlier, when he says that soul have this capability to reflect beauty to everything. Okay, so soul can make anything beautiful, and soul can make anything hopeless, anything mournful. Okay, so and he's talking to the lady that you have that glory inside you and you don't know this. Joy, virtuous lady, joy that never was given save to the pure and in their purest hour. Now he's saying that only to the pure people, only those people who are simple and pure souls, only to those people this gift was given. So you should be happy because you are the one. Life and life affluence could at once and shower. So he's saying that life and its abundance, its joy, all at once, it's showered to you, it's nourished which nourishes the soul. It's overpowered to you. Joy, lady, is the spirit and the power which wedding nature to us give the dower. Now he's saying that joy, you should be happy. Spirit is the power, soul is the power, and then the nature and everything else, every other blessing is the dower, is the gifts that come with us. As in the wedding gifts come, uh, mm, all these blessings, nature, happiness, passion, curiosity, all these things are gifts that come with us. If you have this soul, this pure soul, then all gifts will come with us. A new earth, a new heaven, undreamed of by the sensual and the proud. Now he's saying that the soul, if you have this pure soul, you will get a new earth and new heaven. Now he's trying to symbolize, and he's using the metaphor of new earth and new heaven to say that you will have this spiritual awakening. You have the new eyesight to view this world and to view the heaven. So you will have the spiritual awakening inside you. So everything will be new for you, and it's. And he's saying that all these beauties undreamed of the people who could lost who are lost in this physical world and who can not see beyond this. So this all this joy is undreamed of them. Joy is the sweet voice, joy is the luminous cloud we in ourselves rejoice. Now he's explaining what is joy. That joy is a harmonious voice and a radiant cloud, and it emanates from us. So we can see the his love for the joy, and we can see his kind of need for the joy. Okay, and then flows all the charms or ear or sight, all melodies that echoes of that voice, all colors are suffusion from that light. Now he's saying that every beauty, whether in the sound, melodious, he says, or in the vision, as he says, color, is a manifestation of the joy that starts from the soul. Okay, everything that looks beautiful to us is the manifestation of the joy of the soul. So joy enable to perceive the world to its fulls, and everything comes from the soul. Soul is the main thing. Okay, now he's going to explain about his youthful era in stanza number 6. There was a time when though my path was rough. Now he's saying that his life was full of miseries because he had some kind of illness and he lost his family, and so his life was very tough. So he's saying that my path was rough. This joy within me dallied with distress. So he's saying that I had this joy with my soul. So when I had this joy within my soul, so everything looks beautiful to me. I played with all my joy, played with all the stresses. I balanced my life. All my misfortunes, but as the stuff when fancy made me dream of happiness. Now he's saying that all the misfortunes were stuff from. Now he's using the word stuff as a struggles, and he's saying that my imaginations, I dreamed for the happiness with my imaginations, and then I was happy and I surpassed all my struggles, misfortunes. For hope grew round me like a twining vine, and fruits and foliage, not my own, seemed mine. Now, the hope sounded, Coleridge saying that hope sounded me much like a vine that flourishes and bears fruit, even though some of them was not mine, but it feels mine. So everything was good. Now he's using the word, he's using the simile here when he's saying like the twining vine. Okay, that's an example of simile, and also all this an example of imagery. But now afflictions bore me down to, now these afflictions could be the helplessness, disease, anything, the miseries. So all these miseries changed him, bore me down to earth. Now care I that they rob me of my myth. Now he's saying that I don't complain that they I lose my myth, my happiness. Okay, but the why he's so despair. But oh, each visitation suspend what nature gave me at my birth. Now he's saying that I don't complain of my joys that I lost. Okay, I'm complaining of the visitations of the imagination. I complain about the loss of my imagination, which I had from my birth, which nature gave me from my birth. I lose that thing. I complain about that. My shaping spirit of imagination. This is the actual loss, and this is what he's writing about and what he's lamenting about in this point. For not to think of what I need must feel, but to be still and patient and all I can. Now we can see that he's resigning. Okay, and he's saying that A poet must, when he see, he must could imagine and write. But to I have this coping mechanism that what I need must feel, but to be still and patient. When I see something, as he told us that he was looking at the sunset till the evening, so he said that I calm and patient, and that's all I can do. Okay, and happily by abstruse is research to steal from my own nature all the natural men. Now he's saying that in order to overcome, in order to escape this my emotional self, I immerse in the intellectual pursuit. I immerse in some kind of research philosophy to disconnect from the nature. Okay, from my own nature and from all the natural man, I mm, turn myself to the research. This was my sole resource, not my only plan, till that which suits apart infect the whole. Now he's grieving over his loss and he's regretting. He's saying that I get into this research, this was my sole resource. I only had this option, but my plan was I will research until I get my imagination back. But now this infects my whole. I started for time pass, but now it infects my whole, and now it's almost grown the habit of my soul. Now this research is the habit of my soul, and now my imagination is almost gone, and I only do research now. Hence viper thoughts that coil around my mind. Now he's calling these unhappy thoughts his memories of past and his regrets. He's calling it viper thoughts, some kind of serpent's thought, and they are coiling around his mind. First we have seen the imagery of beautiful imagery of hope growing around him like twining vine, and now we can see the change of imagery. And he says that, mm, get over me, reality, it's dark dream. Now he's saying that reality is looking like some dark dream, because reality is that he loses his power of imagination, and that are these tormenting thoughts that he's saying that, get over my mind. Okay, I turn from you and listen to the wind, which long has raved unnoticed. Now he turned back to the wind, which we have seen that the gust started to swell, and now he turned back to the wind. He says that I am going to turn from these thoughts to the wind, and the winds are unnoticed from a long time. What a scream of agony by torture lightened out that lute sent forth. Now the winds are so strong, so the lute is blowing very strongly. So he's calling the music a scream of agony or torture lengthen out. So the scream, the music is very loud. So, and even the light music were irritable for him. Now the loud music is very irritable for him. So that's why he's calling all these words that ravished without bare crag or mountain train or blasted tree or pine grove whither woodman never climbed. Now he's saying that this wind should be at these points. Which points? Bear crag, some kind of rocky mountains, and some mountain train terrain, or some blasted tree, the tree which is destroyed by the lightning, and some pine grove, even there, even woodman couldn't be able to climb. Oh, lonely house long held the witch's home. And he's saying that, oh, these winds should be at some witch's home that is lonely for a long time, because these winds are also screaming and very ghostly, and these fit to the some haunted house. Methinks were fitter instrument for thee. Okay, all these places are fit for these winds, these terrible winds. Mad lutenist. Now he's again using the literary device of personification, and he's calling wind to some mad musician who, in this month of shower, now this rainy month of dark brown gardens, because it's autumn time and everything is dark brown, and peeping flowers, because few flowers are visible, and because autumn is ending, there's rain and there's spring coming, because we can see these are the symbols of hope. Okay, this spring is the symbol of hope. A little peeping hope is there. Okay, makes devil's yule. Now he's comparing this wind to it's also an example of metaphor. He's comparing this wind to the music of devil, as if devil comparing some Christmas music. Okay, Yule is Christmas music, and he's saying that devil is playing Christmas music. So this is that kind of eerie or ghostly or phantom music, with worse than wintry song. The blossom buds and timorous leaves among He's saying that wind disturbs the beginning of the spring. Okay, these birds blossom, it's disturb it, all of this. This timorous leaves is means that vulnerability, because they all tremble under nature's ferocity, this ferocity of a thunderstorm. Though actor, now is again using the word, again using personification, perfect in all tragic sound, though mighty poet even to frenzy bold. Now is comparing wind to an actor or poet capable of expressing profound tragedy, frenzy. Okay, with some passionate aspects. What tells do now about, now is saying that what stories you about is you about to tell now. This of the rushing of an host in route. Now he's going to tell us about two stories which Wind is explaining. According to him, first is the noise of wind that reminds him of battlefield, where soldiers are running and chasing each other. So he's saying that, are you reminding us of the soldiers who are running with crowns of trampled men with smarting wounds? Now we can see the imagery of suffering and imagery of wounds, of war. At once they crown with pain and shudder with cool. Now we can see there's dual harshness. Once for physical pain, and the other if is cold. But hush, there's a pause of deepest silence. Now there is a silence of the wind. All that noise as of a rushing crowd with ground and tremendous shuddering, all is over instantly. All that noise of war and those screams and grounds, all is over. It tells another tale. Now it's going to tell us another tale with sound less deep and loud. Now for that sound, that tale, wind's sound is less deep and loud. It's kind of calm, a tale of less fright. It's the tale of less horrible of than compared to the war, and tempered with delight. There's some kind of delight in that story, as Otway's self had framed the tender lay. Now is giving us an illusion of another reference to another story, The Orphan by Thomas Otway, and he's going to describe that story now. Tis of a little child upon the lonesome wild. Now he's saying that in that story there was a child who lost, and he's saying that the wind is telling the story of a little child upon some lonely area, nor far from the house, but she had lost her way. Now he's saying that she's not so far, but she lost. Now he's giving his own story, that he's not very far from his imagination, but he lost his way towards back his inner peace, and now moans low in bitter grief and fear. Now the girl is crying in the fear. He's giving us the illusion of that story. Now screams loud and hopes to make her mother hear. Now we can see quite despair, because firstly she was crying a bit low. Now she's screaming loud, so we can see despair and cries of help from the poet and from the girl. Last stanza. This midnight, but small thoughts have I of sleep. Now he's saying that it's almost midnight, but I don't have any thoughts of sleep. I don't have any sleep because we have earlier discussed he have numbness. He can't able to sleep. For seldom may my friend such vigil keep. Now he's talking about the lady, that for you, I hope that rarely these vigils come from you. These night wakeness comes for you. Seldomly you awake for the night. Visit her. Gently sleep with wings of healing. Now he's praying for his friend lady, that she sleep gently under the wings, healing winds of sleep, because sleep has this power of healing. So he's saying that sleep must heal you, and may this storm be but a mountain birth, because the Coleridge is at the mountains. And right now he's saying that storm must be here right now. Storm couldn't be able to come to you. May all the stars hang upon bright above her dwelling. He's saying that above the lady's dwelling where she is living, there must be a beautiful, peaceful night. Okay, so he's praying for that lady, silent as though they watch the sleeping earth. So he's saying that he's using some personification that stars could watch the earth, and he's saying that. The stars watch over his friends. He's giving us the imagery of some divine protection and peace through all this imagery. With light heart may she rise. Gay, fancy, cheerful eyes. Now he's hoping that his friend awakens with joy and creativity and optimism and hopefulness. Joy lift her spirit, joy tune her voice to make all things live from pole to pole. Now he's saying that joy transform everything for her and lift her soul and harmonize her, give her inner peace. And in the second line is using the literary device of hyperbole. Hyperbole is a literary device that involves an exaggeration used for emphasis or for effect. So he's saying that hyperbole here is that he's saying that the soul of his friend is the life-giving force from pole to pole, okay, which is connecting the whole universe. It's life-giving force for everybody because she is the purest soul, the life, the edging of her living soul. Okay, so saying that there's unity and interconnectedness of her and the natural world, and he is the life force of everything. O simple lady, guided from the above. As we have discussed, only simple lady, simple spirits could have the joy. So he's saying that, oh, simple spirit, guided from the above, dear lady, friend, divorced test from my choice. Now he's praising his friend as pure heart and divinely inspired and deep inspiration and bond they have. Thus mayst do ever, ever rejoice. Now, poet closes his poem with timeless blessing. Okay, ever, ever, wishing eternal joy for the friend, and repetition of ever, ever shows the sincerity of the poem. Now, the poem ends with a quite hopeful tone. These are some of the themes of the poem: loss, the loss of the creativity and inner peace and imagination of the Coleridge, nature's relationship with human mind, because what we perceive in mind and soul is what we see in the world, emotional and spiritual despair which he had in his life, alienation because he was alienated at the mountain, even his only friend which he was praying was not with him, search for inner peace in his whole poem. I've discussed all this poem in the poem, all these themes in the poem. If you have any question regarding the explanation, you can ask in the comments below. Also, you can give your suggestions about the next poem to explain in the comments below. Please like and share the video and subscribe our channel. Press the bell icon to get the notification of the next video.